Hello, everyone, and welcome to River City Runs Red, our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle here on Restless Barbarian Gaming. I'm your storyteller, Aloysius, and I'm here with my lovely players this evening, who I will have introduce themselves in a counterclockwise fashion, starting with Tom.
Good evening. Welcome, everybody. My name is Tom. I am playing Ephrem, a young Malkavian who is convinced someone is messing with his head, that some of the things he's seeing are not real. And he's going to go see if he can find out who is messing with his head.
We'll see how successful he is with that. You're muted.
You know, this happens to me at work too all the time.
It happens to the best of us.
Hi, I'm T. I play Yvaine Mallory, a lovable clan ministry girly who is plotting things. No, she's not plotting things. Yeah.
She's kind of plotting things a little bit.
The ball is rolling uphill, maybe. But she's also very interested to see who's messing with Eric's mind. So, yeah.
Hello, I'm Pluto. I play Scully, who is a new addition, not quite in the coterie yet, I'd say, but they are here as bodyguard, hitman,
whatever we need them to be.
whatever we need them to be, and we'll see how this develops.
Indeed. And unfortunately, we are down Jen this week. They are still recovering from a dental procedure, so we hope that's going well for them, and hopefully they'll be back with us next week. But in the meantime, the show must go on. And it's been a couple weeks since the last session, so when last we left off, and everyone feel free to chime in if I forget anything that you remember. When last we left off, we started out with a very starving Yvaine hosting a meetup with a bunch of her fans, and her and Ephrem had a good smorgasbord, I guess, off of a couple people, and exchanged contact information with a fan named Jennifer. And you maybe made her entire life. Who knows? We'll see, I guess. And while that was all going on, Scully had a much more spooky encounter, shall we say, because her associate, acquaintance, whatever he is, Florian, introduced Scully to a high-ranking Hekata named Zephyr, who seemed familiar with this Maeghar that has been troubling Ephrem and potentially causing widespread trouble throughout the city, and gave a lot of insight into who he is and what his motivations are. And then Yvaine, Ephrem, and Delilah all went to Elysium, chatted up with the Scourge Hassan a little bit, got a little bit of information, but Ephrem thought it wise not to probe too much, based off of how Hassan was answering questions. And then after all that was said and done, the group all convened at a park and sort of shared their shared their collective information that they had gathered, and sort of discussed potential next courses of action. And that's where we left off, unless anyone else has anything to add to that.
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So we will be picking up a few nights later. So I'm assuming within those past few nights, everyone, if they were hungry, would have fed. So we can start you at the baseline of 1 hunger if you were higher than that previously. But now everyone does need to make a rouse check and see if they stay at that 1 hunger.
Ooh, no.
Success.
Okay, by that reaction, I'm assuming Scully gets a little bit hungrier.
Yeah, it was a straight up 1.
Well, luckily all failures are the same as
Thank
far as these
goodness.
dice are concerned.
Muted once
You're
again.
muted.
I get hungrier.
You get hungrier? Okay, I wasn't sure if
I
that
got 3.
gesture was... I wasn't sure if that
was
gesture
like,
was I'm
there it
good
goes.
or I'm hungrier. I'm like, that could be
Oh.
either or. I don't know.
I'm a wee bit peckish, you know?
Yeah, you've been worse off before. That's certainly true.
The past couple times we've played.
Yeah, that's true. I think like the past 2 sessions, you somehow wound up with hunger 4 at the start of it.
Those rouse checks will get you for
they will.
activating powers.
They will get you. So we're gonna be picking up a few nights later. I guess sort of in the interim, I know Yvaine has been up to a couple things, but which you can feel free to share with the rest of the group. But has anybody else been up to anything the sort of like past couple nights in between this session and last?
Not that I can think of offhand, so why don't we let Yvaine go? But I don't know if Scully did anything.
That should be good.
Okay.
Okay, what's important to talk about? So Ephrem is such a good friend. And Yvaine respects his opinion. Anyway,
But-
she went to go talk to Hassan.
Oh, I was waiting for the but.
She went to go talk to Hassan again to probe for more information because she doesn't listen. She's in a rebellious phase. But she did it not in front of Ephrem, so like points for trying, right? To hold up the facade of listening. And so I guess just that overview. She spoke with Hassan again to probe for a little bit more information. She learned a lot of things, not all of it pertaining to like what's going on currently, but that's not important. And then also she kind of like, the next time anyone comes to the Coterie house, they're going to see a giant board, essentially with a map of Grand Rapids on it, with a bunch of like red string attaching different points and marks on it because
Yeah, it's basically a massive conspiracy board.
yes, she spent quite a few hours going over all of the notes and all of the information that Merrick and herself had gotten so far about what's going on. And then like she spent a lot of time trying to like narrow down where it is most likely that where it might be most likely that this Maeghar would have relocated to if it's still going to be hunting for victims within Ward 2. And then also perhaps came up with a possible plan that Ephrem won't like, but she'll broach that discussion with him because it involves bait. And I think Ephrem's really good bait, so.
Oh no. We're on
But
the-
she also knows that he's likely to not be too thrilled about that. So she's looking into other potential backup bait options, such as finding a thin blood put in danger, which, sorry, but
Yes, arguably a very specific one.
a very
that-
specific one. Our buddy, Marcus,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Marcus, our buddy Marcus. But that means that she is currently, I forgot, she had told Rick her plan about this and how she didn't think that Ephrem would be okay with being bait, most likely. So that using Marcus might be a nice option as well. And that she would like to get in contact with the sheriff if he could make some time so that she can broach this subject with him since he put Marcus into the shadow baby cage. So yeah, that's what Yvaine got up to the past couple of days.
A very nice and succinct.
All the other stuff's not important.
Yeah. There's other details, but that can be broached when it's relevant.
Exactly.
All right. Well, so everyone wakes up at their respective havens, and I suppose Yvaine, would you? First off, Yvaine, you basically, like, as soon as you wake up, you would get a message from Rick letting you know that Sheriff McCoy is willing to meet tonight over your potential inquiry.
Yay, she could still go see the hot priest. Love it. Okay, cool. Sorry. Sometimes inside thoughts become outside thoughts. Okay, cool. She would respond real quick, say, awesome. Did he like say a place or just like he's available to meet tonight?
All he had said was he's available to meet with you tonight.
Okay, she's gonna say great or Paige great, and then diocese ?
And you get back a semicolon right parentheses to simulate a winking face.
Rick, you're such a freak. I love you. It's just funny. I keep forgetting, Rick is like, vampires are weird. Okay, she'll say LOL, ha ha ha, because she's about the new lingo that the kids use, but she knows a bit more than most. So
makes sense.
Alrighty.
And also separately, around a similar time, Scully, you would get a message from Merrick saying,
you up?
Don't!
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it.
But you get a message from Merrick, and
What you doing?
And he says, Opal is willing to check out the potential revenge outpost if you want to tag along or are interested.
She'll go ahead, respond pretty quick. Imagine that she's still at her haven, and just say, "Sounds good. I'm in. Where do we meet?"
And then he just messages back, "I'll pick you up, and we'll head there to meet her."
Thumbs up.
And then you just get
Yeah.
I was saying, then you just get a thumbs up back.
Yay.
All right. And Ephrem, I'd say you would get a message from Gremory, just checking in, since the last couple times they've seen you, you've been a bit stressed, shall we say? So I'd say they're kind of just messaging just to check in on you.
He'll just send back, "I'm good."
And you'll just get a message back saying, I know what that means, but I'm here if you need to talk anytime.
No response. So
Left on red.
not quite that bad, but
They will
Alright.
also text Ephrem, by the way, sometime early in the night.
Sounds good.
okay.
You would I lie? The text is going to say, "Hey, had an idea, a potential plan about our situation. However, I don't know that you're gonna like it, so we need to talk about it."
That's generally not the way to get someone to agree with your idea when you already say you're gonna hate it, but
You're gonna hate it, but hear me out.
Plus side, I do think that it will help us fix your little problem that happened so it never happens again.
all right, he'll just write
Carrot
back.
and stick.
He'll just write back like, let's talk.
I'm just thinking. It's pretty early in the night.
Check Outlook, check the calendar.
Did Rick tell her what time she needs to meet the sheriff? Because she shouldn't be late to that. That's for sure.
Yes. He would say, I'd say he would have tacked on like at the end of like your little messages. He'd sort of tack on 2 hours from now.
Okay. Are you at the club? Just because if he is, she will just start heading there right now.
Ephrem, you at the club?
You at the club?
The
no.
club.
It's just write back like, no. Tell me where.
Can we meet right now? Oh, okay. Coterie House.
Okay. You just
That's
okay.
a car.
Yeah. So, yeah, so he'll head over there. I had a question about
Yes.
premonition, and I gotta go back and look at
Yes.
prospects again.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to see what that is good for. Experience malicious insight. Could he potentially use that to get an idea? Maybe what's going to happen to him tonight.
Okay. So yeah, sort of just like a general being like, what's in store for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Make me a rouse check.
Yep.
And then roll me resolve plus your aspects.
Okay, succeeds on the rouse check. So we're going to do the
Nice.
resolve plus aspects. Four successes.
4 successes.
Yeah.
Okay. You sort of get you sort of get like various flashes of. You haven't used this ability too much, but based off of what Gremory has sort of like explained to you about, it's not necessarily guaranteed what will happen, but more potentially what could happen.
Mhm.
It's not a guarantee per se. And with that being said, you get sort of a flash to you sort of like get a flash forward to some indeterminate point in time, and you see a familiar face who you haven't seen in a while and maybe or maybe not have thought about in some time. You see Marcus, the Sunburner, in an enclosed room with one door, and he's sort of like panting and shivering, and like parts of him, like parts of his like clothes and arms almost look like they have sort of like frost like collecting on them, and sort of like bits of his hair are also frosted up and are sort of beginning to melt, and he's sort of panting, and then he like looks up and he just says seemingly to you, "What the fuck do you want?" And then you're back to the present.
Okay. Yeah, he's been kind of like just chilling out the last couple nights and probably overthinking things, and maybe even just kind of subconsciously triggered this premonition, and he's unfortunately begun to talking to himself a little bit.
Always a good sign.
He's like, "What does that motherfucker want? They put him away somewhere. Why am I seeing him? What does he have to do with all this?" And then looks at his watch and he's like, "Shit, I gotta go." And we'll drive over to see Yvaine.
Sounds good. Doesn't take you too terribly long.
Okay. Tonight he's a little disheveled. He's usually very organized with his appearance, matching everything up. Tonight he is probably wearing like a just like a regular t-shirt. Might even have like a stain on it somewhere, maybe like a dark stain on it, and some raggedy jeans and boots, and no sunglasses, and he looks tired. Like he is not, even though vampires don't really sleep, in the traditional sense anyway. Exactly. But he looks tired, and not necessarily cranky, but more like when you're struggling with something and that just kind of weighs on you.
Weary.
Weary, yeah, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. So, so he doesn't have his usual swagger when he walks in.
It's the neurodivergence. I'm so sorry, Ephrem. I get that so heavy. Ephrem is all of us.
Ephrem is all of us.
And he's like, "So what's up?"
I want you to know, Storyteller, as soon as she sees Ephrem's car pull up, she activates awe.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I turn on all as well. No, kidding.
And she sees Ephrem and she's immediately thinking, this might actually be a little easier than I thought, because he doesn't look good. So that's just a thought that she has.
Okay.
She's like, yikes, he's been up and down lately. But she sees Ephrem, she just smiles as normal. She's like, "Ephrem, it's good to see you. Oh, come in. She'll invite him in off the street.
All right, sounds good. So, Ephrem, you head on in.
Yeah. Is Delilah there?
I'd say Delilah's probably there. She hangs out there most nights these days.
Okay. Is there anybody else around, or is it just three of us?
It would be just the three of you right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So as soon as she closes the door after Ephrem has entered, she'll kind of like follow him to like the living room area, and she kind of clasps her hands together. And she's, okay, so I know that you like a straightforward answer, uh, and not beating around the bush. So I'll just kind of get right to it. I've been working with Merrick on trying to go over all the information that we've gotten so far about this issue we're currently facing, and trying to find your kidnapper. And a thought occurred to me. Now, I believe that you, more than anyone probably, maybe even more than the prince, uh, don't tell anyone I said that, want to make sure that we find this creature and take care of them sooner rather than later, so nothing else happens. And I have a thought as to how we might be able to do that. Two thoughts in the same vein. So I'm going to tell you these two options, so just hear me out. I believe that perhaps we can set up bait in Ward 2. You can probably understand where I'm going with this, because I think that there are two viable options for bait. One would be yourself, because I think there is probably, for at least in how you described how this creature was acting, probably nothing more tantalizing than the very kindred that managed to get away from it, possibly even the very first one that has gotten away from it. I think that if we were to have you in Ward 2, obviously not by yourself, we would be there trying to capture this thing, find out where its lair is, and take care of it. I do think that it might draw it out sooner rather than later. Now, that obviously comes with some danger attached to it, and you may not be willing to put yourself in that situation, which is understandable, especially after your harrowing experience. So the other option is that we could always try Marcus, because it seems to be very interested in Thin Bloods. So I told Rick that I would like to set up a meeting to go speak with Sheriff McCoy about potentially using Marcus to try and draw this Maeghar out as a possibility. I don't know if that will work, but I'm thinking perhaps that is the best first thing to try before risking your safety. And I'd like to know your opinion on both of those options, however, because there is the potential that Marcus won't be enough to draw this thing out.
You can't let Marcus out. Leave him where he is.
Don't use Marcus, you think?
Yep. Leave him where he is.
Does that mean that you would be willing
To be the bait?
Yes.
I would like a shot.
I know willing is a very strong word.
I would like a shot at that fucker.
Okay. Well, that bodes well. And so then I have some information that I think you might also...
I feel like I'm being laid off. Like she's already got the paperwork ready. And we're sorry, this is your last day. We have your severance package already.
Sorry, you're on borrowed time, pal.
Exactly.
Sorry, bud.
Exactly. What you need to do is clean out your desk in 5 minutes and don't make a fuss as you leave. So. That actually happened to me. But anyway, so
Oh no!
I got laid off years ago. So anyway,
They would not do this to you. She just wasn't expecting you to be like, all right. She's like, okay,
Be like,
this
yep,
could go real
totally on
bad.
board.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, this could go real bad. So she's like, hey, I don't have to try that hard to convince.
Do you have any
people.
keys to Elysium that you need to return to us? You know, any
Do you
coterie
have a
property?
replacement that you would like to recommend for your
Exactly.
position as a whip?
Exactly.
So she's gonna say, so the other thing that I found out is because of the belief behind the nature of the Maeghars, I guess, conception, there is a potential that cold iron might be extremely Tiara, I forgot the word. I guess it's useful. Yeah. Be very efficient. Be an efficient weapon against them.
Iron.
However, I'm not quite sure where we might find such a thing or such a material, but doesn't mean we can't look into it.
He looks at his waistband. He's like, I got steel. But
I think it's got to be cold iron specifically.
he's like,
You know, because the Fae tie. She's
he's
Pulls
still a
out.
little fuzzy on all that. So
pulls out a little brochure that goes over.
Hold on, a little brochure. she
here's the
made.
world of darkness. So
Read up
So-
on this.
So I don't know that much, but changelings are creatures that exist in this world, and you know, like those old myths about fae creatures. You know, things tied to like Ireland and Scotland and whatnot. Fairy creatures, whatever.
Oh.
There's some truth to that, I suppose, is how I think of it. And typically,
shrugs.
Fake.
He's like, all right, I get so this like he's like part leprechaun or something. So
sure, more like part. You know what? Yeah, that works. We don't gotta show him respect. He kidnapped you.
Ephrem was not a big D&D player. Let's put it that way. Ephrem probably beat up the people who played D&D. So,
Oh my god!
Because he's cool like that.
yeah, he was.
said, "I
he was
shoved
one of the
those
cool
nerds
kids.
into a locker."
Oh yeah. He
All of
definitely gave
us.
somebody a swirly. So
Oh no! But typically, in those myths,
Mhm.
creatures of Fae origin have a weakness against cold iron, and that holds true for changelings. And there's a possibility, because of their tie to Fae ancestry, that this holds true for Maeghar.
okay.
So I think it wouldn't hurt to look into maybe finding a weapon of some sort that could be made of this material. Might make you feel safer if you're willing to play bait. Doesn't hurt to be prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever I can. If I can give this fucker a beat down, I'm all for it.
We're all gonna give this fucker a beat down. Yvaine says she mimics Ephrem. Yeah, we're all gonna give this fucker a beat down.
And he kind of just. He actually then just kind of just looks down at his feet like he's thinking about something. And and like kind of doesn't respond for like a couple seconds, and then just kind of looks
Ephrem,
up.
I know that you're the type who's very to yourself. You like your privacy and whatnot. And I know you're kind of like half in, half out of the coterie. This is a thing that you were told to do, probably not necessarily something that you wanted to do. But I don't want anything to happen to you. And I don't want you to to be struggling because of this situation. So I'm going to do my best to help you resolve this so that you don't have to worry about this thing ever again. I'm not saying that you have to tell me if anything is wrong, but I've got your back.
It just nods. So when are we doing this?
Well, I have to go speak to the sheriff in about an hour now, so...
And don't let Marcus out.
Got it.
Trust me.
Don't let Marcus out. Okay. I won't tell the sheriff that we should use Marcus. I will say Ephrem is willing to play bait, which I do think is probably more effective than Marcus would be anyways, and we can't guarantee that Marcus wouldn't cause some kind of issue or problem. So, all right. Then by any chance, I don't know if you have anyone that you can think of asking, but do you think you can ask around if anyone knows anything about cold iron while I meet with the sheriff?
Out of character, I'm thinking you might talk to, you could talk to the Tremere. Probably, I don't know if his, I mean, because the Malkavians aren't really known as, well, they're kind of all over the place. I mean, you could have some mystical Malkavians. This isn't stuff he's used to. Would Gremory possibly be a resource, or just from what I know him, or...
Yeah. They've been around the block for a while, so you think that maybe they could have some insight, but you also know that, like, sort of mysticism isn't really their area of expertise.
Yeah. That's why I'm thinking the Tremere. The Tremere, or like the Hekata might, but he doesn't formally have any ties or anybody he can go to there, and he'd rather stay in the Camarilla. So, guess you could always check. I guess we can always ask the sheriff.
I mean, I can make sure to bring that up to the sheriff as well.
Yeah. I don't want to ask the Tremere for too much. Eventually, they're going to want something in return. So, while they've been useful, I think I don't want to be emboldened or indebted to them. So, let's ask the sheriff. Kind of, because if you've already mentioned you think it's a Maeghar, or you're going to tell him you think it's a Maeghar, then that leads right into the question about, okay, we've heard something about cold iron works on them. So,
do you think that maybe the Malkavian Primogen might know anything?
He could try, and Ephrem could just shrug and say, I can ask, but...
I'm just wondering if maybe... I don't actually know. I don't know who the Malkavian Primogen is. But maybe... I think Yvaine would just be like, maybe they might have some experience or have heard anything or know someone.
I mean, he can...
And since you're the whip...
Yeah, he can ask Jasper. He's what you sense from Ephrem, he's a little hesitant to be spreading his business around. The less people who know what's going on with him, the better to him. While it is the Primogen, I don't think he knows him that well.
You kind of, relationship. Exactly. You have a bit of a working relationship, and if anything, just him more by his reputation than too much about him personally.
Yeah, I think he'll. Let's take it to the sheriff, because it's not necessarily a clan problem. It's a me problem. So I don't know why he's well, I know why. He thinks chain of command. I got.
Well, do the Primogens in Grand Rapids have a good relationship with the prince?
as far as you can,
so.
as far as you can tell. Because
Okay.
the Camarilla here is like still pretty young. In the grand scheme of things, both the prince and the various Primogen are, relatively new to their various seats, so they're still kind of gauging how, efficient they are at their jobs.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'll do that first. Then, did you want to come with me, or did you have something else that you needed to do?
No, I think I need to go with you.
All right. Well, then, can you drive us to the diocese?
Diocese, sure. What's that?
That's where we went last time. When we
Oh,
watched Sheriff McCoy
oh,
put
the
Marcus
place.
in timeout.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, the player says that. Yeah, of course, Ephrem remembers exactly. So yeah, of course, yeah, I know where that is. It's like,
Obviously.
All
All
right.
right. And also, sort of,
Does Ephrem want time to freshen up before going?
no, he's in kind of a down mood. And yeah, it would be definitely a different appearance for him. I mean, it's not that he was like, three-piece suits, but usually looking a lot better than he is now. But tonight he's just like, no, let's just do this.
All right. Fair enough.
It's like when you got to go to work with the flu,
yeah.
So.
And you'll also sort of get a message from Rick about like 30 minutes out from the meeting, being like, did you still want me to be there, or do you think you're good?
I think if you're busy, I think it will be okay. Ephrem will be coming with me as well. Always welcome, though.
Okay. He'll respond, I'll be there then. Okay. So then you guys
Roll with
all...
my squad.
Yeah. So you guys head on out, and in the meantime, we're going to transition over to Scully, who is getting picked up by Merrick.
Hi.
And he's sort of just waiting for you outside your haven in a sort of nondescript vehicle.
Awesome. We love nondescript.
We love nondescript vehicles.
Yeah. Okay. Scully will go ahead and head on out to join him.
Sounds good.
Hop in and just give him a nod.
All right. He gives you a nod, and you guys start driving off, and the drive takes about 15-20 minutes, somewhere around there. And you sort of like pull up to the side of the road, and you're around sort of like various office buildings, and standing outside standing outside of one of the office buildings, you see a young woman, sort of like she looks indigenous, and sort of like long flowing black hair that's swooped over to the side a little bit. She's wearing a leather jacket, some jeans, and sort of like wedged heeled boots. And she walks up to your guys' car and says, "You're here." And then she looks over to you, Scully, and then back to Merrick and said, "This the one you were talking about?" And he says, "Yes, this is Scully, an associate of mine. Hey, I'm Opal."
Hello. Yeah, he introduced me, but nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too. You can handle yourself in a fight.
I would say so.
Great. I think we're gonna get along just fine then. So, I scouted out. There, it appears that at least 4 of them are. There's probably more somewhere out there, but there's at least a cell of 4 of them in an apartment building about a block down that way. And three of them look like it looks like there's about 2 bruisers, one more like techie guy, but then the 4th one, I don't know for sure, but I think there's something off about him. We might want to try and work on taking care of that one first. Ideally, we take out the fighters and then leave the, the weak link to interrogate.
Sounds good to me. Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan to me as well. So shall we get on with it?
Well, go ahead. Swing open the car door, step on out.
Alright, and then Merrick will follow suit, and Opal will sort of like gesture and say, down this way.
Great.
And she starts heading off. And Merrick follows along with you.
Alright. And I shall also follow and also pull up the VTM wiki so I can have all of the abilities right there.
A sound plan.
Yay. A little important.
And Opal will look back and say, have you guys got any special tricks to prepare for this? I'd start prepping them now.
Okay. Sick.
There's a security guard at the front desk, but I can handle him.
She'll go ahead, give a nod. Yeah. Sounds good to me. You can do whatever you like with that. Wondering, I know that feral weapons is a thing, but I'm not sure about doing it right here because it can be seen.
Yes, it can indeed be seen, and you may wish to, at least wait until you're past the reception area before doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yes, that is certainly a thing you can prepare. And as you sort of walk into the building, Opal's just, walking with purpose, and she sort of like looks over at the security guard for a second and then just keeps walking. And as the security guard's getting ready to stand up and be like, hey, sorry, do you live here? And she, without even looking back at him, she just says, sit down and shut up. And and he just sits right back down and is like now like sweating. And and she just keeps walking and heads right to the elevators and pushes a button.
Gonna keep close behind.
And you and Merrick step in the elevator with her.
We love a classic walk-in like you own the place.
Exactly, we love it. And she hits the button for the 5th floor. And she's like, all right, well, once we get out of the elevator, any last minute things, I'd get them ready.
All right. Well, this would be a good time to go ahead and do that rouse check for feral weapons.
Sounds good.
Let's see. No whammies. 10. Yay, no whammies.
Hell yeah. And would you like to describe what your feral weapons look like?
I imagine that it's very much like, not really like cat claws, but like the fingertips themselves kind of elongate and harden, as well as the nails on top. The nails on top are the hardest part, but
Okay.
nice and sharp and curved.
Very cool. And you notice sort of like as you activate your feral weapons, you look over at Merrick's left hand, and you see seemingly like the fingers themselves begin to sort of like thin out and elongate almost into sort of like spiky bony protrusions, sort of like a la Lady Deathstrike a little bit, but with bone and his whole fingers instead of just the nails.
Oh my god. We love to see it. We got freaky hands.
Yeah. Freaky hand buds. And as you head down the hallway, she looks back to the two of you and says, this floor is relatively vacant, so hopefully that should help in our favor at the very least.
Sounds good. Just gonna, my ears a bit perked and stuff, but paying attention.
All right. And then she like steps in front of the door, and she says, leave the guy with the glasses alone. He's the techie. Everyone else, just take him out as quickly as possible.
Alrighty.
1, 2, 3. And then she busts it. She like kicks the door, and it blasts off the hinges and caves in. And she just like rushes in. And so since basically this is functionally a surprise round, all of you will get sort of just a free attack on people of your choosing. So,
All right.
So when you barge in, you notice the guy with the glasses sort of sitting at a table on a laptop. Can't really tell what he has pulled up in the heat of the moment. Then there's two guys. Well, there's a man and a woman looking like they're cleaning some weaponry on one of the tables, and on the far side there is a man smoking a cigarette by a window.
Okay. Let's see. I want to check because I don't remember if this is how it works, but with Sense the Beast, it is about supernatural traits. Is it just like this isn't a human, or is it like more specific? Because I'm trying to pick up who the weird one is, if possible.
One moment, and I can hopefully give you that information. Let's see. I'm not even looking at the right discipline right now. I need animalism. And okay, it says sense hostility and supernatural traits, so it is not so it's basically just like anything supernatural.
Okay.
Passively it just like works like being like, hey, am I in danger right now? But you have to like try and roll for to sort of like discern like out of the crowd like who might have something
Okay.
off
All right.
with them. So if you want to do that, that'll be a resolve and animalism roll.
And would this be full turn, or would it just be attack?
Okay, sorry, would it be what or what?
Would it be just the full action for this turn, or?
Oh,
would it
I see. I'll allow it to sort of just like be a brief like scan real quick.
All right. Okay. So that will be resolve plus animalism. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that is 4 dice. So let me grab 2, then 2 hunger dice. So that is 2 successes, and if I roll 1 on a hunger dice here, does that do anything? Or
In this case, it does.
Okay.
Because you did not make the DC, unfortunately. So that will be considered a bestial failure.
Ooh, fun. I finally get to experience what everyone else was.
Yeah.
Question on that. Is that
Yes.
something where you can spend willpower to re-roll dice?
You can't re-roll hunger dice.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought.
yeah,
Okay.
so messy criticals you can potentially avoid, provided at least one of them are on a non-hunger die.
Okay.
But bestial failures, since it's a 1 on a hunger die,
Okay.
if you fail, then it's unavoidable.
Okay. I thought of that the other night. Like, shit, should I have done that? But then I was thinking, I don't think I could have done it. So please carry on. So.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. I'll roll for a compulsion. Let's see. We are going to go with a hunger compulsion.
Oh no.
The vampire will do whatever it takes to slake their hunger. Any action taken that does immediately lead to obtaining blood that does not immediately lead to obtaining blood suffers a 2 dice penalty. This ends when the vampire slakes at least 1 hunger level.
Are these all mortals?
As far as your sense the beast is telling you, yeah, they all seem like mortals.
Fuck. Is it good? Alright, well. Since I can't tell who's who, we're going for one of the people who is at the weapons first.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm
gonna swipe them with your claws.
melee. So
All right, so
would that
Nope.
no? That would be brawl, right?
that would be brawl, yes.
Okay.
So in this case it'd be strength plus brawl.
Okay. Let me move my keyboard back while I roll this. But also, I also have a question about.
I would say, well, okay, I guess in this case it'd be strength. Well, are you slashing them with your claws, or are you like trying to grapple them to potentially feed on them? Because
we're going to go for slashing.
okay, so then it'll be your dice pool at a -2 dice penalty. So remove 2 dice from your normal dice pool.
Okay. So, but it is still brawl.
It is still brawl.
Okay. All right. Because I feel like you know what I was saying about Scully. She can't eat these people.
Yeah.
We only got 1 failure. It's 3 successes, 1 failure.
3 successes. Okay. So you sort of like move in very quickly, and you just rake your claws across this person's chest, and she's just like, "What the fuck?" Ah! Ah! As you sort of like gouge out a chunk from the middle of her chest, but she sort of quickly steps back and and then sort of like goes to start fiddling with her weapon. While that happens, you see Merrick goes after the guy next to the person that you targeted, and is about as successful as you. But he sort of like takes his elongated bony claws and sort of just jabs them straight through the dude's right shoulder, and then pulls them out very quickly. The sort of like making the man's arm go limp and functionally useless. And Opal had rushed past the two of them and is gonna go and swing at the dude smoking a cigarette. And she manages to sort of like punch his shoulder, and you sort of hear a sound as it either fractures or dislocates as he stumbles backwards. And now we're into full combat, so we are going to sort of like go through the sequence of events. So technically already engaged melee combat goes first, so Scully, you may make your next move if you wish to attack with your claws again or do something similar.
Alright. I just want to check how the +2 works, because I am not familiar with how modifiers work.
Yes. Yeah, so the way the modifiers work is it takes your sort of like number of successes, and that sort of transfers into damage, and then the modifiers add damage. So in your case, you rolled 3 successes, so it'd add +2, so that'd be 5 points of superficial damage, which since they're mortal translates to aggravated damage. So she's real messed up. You messed her up real bad.
Okay, we go again. We go again.
Sounds good.
We're still not trying to actually like feed from her, because God only knows that is not what she wants to do. And that is only 1 success and another 1 on a Hunger Dice. Good work, everyone.
Okay, so I guess she's gonna try and dodge out of the way. Which actually, yeah, so she successfully dodges out of the way, and got a 1. So I guess that means you get another compulsion.
Oh no! We're racking it off.
Yeah.
This ain't good.
Let's see. In this case, you get a harm compulsion. So at least this one's potentially beneficial for you. The vampire desires to inflict harm, be it social, mental, or physical harm. Any actions not immediately resulting in someone else's pain, the vampire suffers a 2 dice penalty. This ends once they have driven away, incapacitates, or destroys a target. If the target is an object rather than a person, it must hold serious value to someone.
Well, at least that'll balance out the next time I roll.
Yeah, that is true. All right. And then so the one dude who's going up against Merrick, he's looks like he's holding a knife, so he and Merrick are going to He's basically going to try and fend Merrick's knife hands off with his own knife, to which he fails miserably. And Merrick sort of almost like catches the exactly. To which Merrick almost like catches the knife in his bony fingers and like twists it out of the guy's hand before shoving his bony fingers into his throat. And the man begins to gurgle up blood, and Merrick slowly retracts his hand as the man slumps to the floor. So and unfortunately, the dude smoking manages to quickly move out of the way of Opal's next punch, and so the woman who you were engaged with, she now has her firearm at the ready, and she sort of like quickly takes aim at you and lets a round off.
Okay. And do I roll it?
Let's see. That's 4 successes. You may attempt to try and dodge, but there is currently no cover, so you'd be doing it at another penalty, unfortunately.
If I tried to dodge, what would that dice pool be?
It would be your dex and athletics.
Okay, and then it would be a minus a bunch for.
It would be it because you're like no cover, and also you have a compulsion right now. That'd be -4 to your dice pool.
Yeah. Okay, so and then you said it would be
dex plus athletics.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm not gonna bother because that minus is bigger than my dice pool. So.
All right, sounds good. So, all right, let's see. So you take. You only take 2 superficial damage.
Okay. Alright. I wish that this specific sheet had that part. Let me just write it down somewhere. Okay. Heard. I feel like Scully is a little bit distracted with the blood everywhere.
Kind of got a lot of both hunger and rage going on right now.
Yeah. So just kind of not doing so hot in this moment. So that's fine.
Yeah, just hanging in there. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And you and then sort of like next up is the man who had the cigarette. He sort of as he moves out of the way, he drops the cigarette on the ground, and he basically like holds his hand out, and almost like within a second, as Opal just sort of sees what's happening before it happens, she just yells, "Holy shit!" And he seems to project fire out of his hand as it sort of like launches in a cone across the side of the room. And see if Opal can get out of the way even a little bit.
Oh my god.
And as she tries to dodge, her whole right arm just gets like lit up in flame, and she immediately starts screaming and like trying to like roll around on the ground and try and put herself out as quickly as possible. And dude with the specs is sort of just gotten up and he's like run to the opposite corner of the room and is like, I'm staying out of all this shit that's happening right now. And so then we go back to the melee fighters. So you and Merrick and Opal, who's currently writhing on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so did that come out of his hand? Like hand?
Seemingly it like a wave of flame or heat ejected like out of his hand.
No little like wrist flamethrower is what I'm asking.
You can try and make me a wits awareness real quick.
That's gonna get like that's gonna be a 1 dice roll. I'm good.
Okay, well then as far as you can tell, it just came right out of his hand.
Okay, well, regardless, I think that Merrick is right here. This human right here is pretty injured. That guy has a fucking flamethrower.
Yeah.
So, Scully is gonna go ahead and go to try and help Opal out.
Alright.
By immediately fucking trying to pounce on this dude, essentially.
Alright, sounds good. Make me a strength plus brawl roll.
Alright. Let's see. Does the hunger compulsion add anything if it's 4 hunger or no? Is it just subtracts, right? That's how compulsions work?
Yep, it just subtracts. It doesn't add anything.
Alright. So we do this at full. We got... Oh, that is a 6, a 7, 2 10s, and a 9. 2 10s are on non-hunger dice.
So that's 7 successes. Yeah, you basically see this dude shoot fire out of his hands and really fuck Opal up. And you just fucking go in and you just start like eviscerating this man with your feral weapons, because you're also kind of in a blood rage right now. So you're just like unrelenting and you're just tearing this man up. And as you pounce on him, he sort of just starts screaming and howling in pain until eventually the howls fade with gurgling blood before going silent.
Can I say, is it a lot to say that she may have ripped off the arm that flame came out of?
Nope, go right ahead. She just like cuts that shit right off and flings it across the room. And I would say that puts an end to your harm compulsion for sure.
Yay! Extreme gratuitous violence.
Yeah. It's like, man, I feel so much better now. Mostly. I'm still hungry. Well, at that display, Merrick's like, well, time to finish this shit off, and just like moves in real quickly and stabs the one dude through the chest and like fully shoves his arm like right through the man's chest cavity. And sort of lifts him up off the ground for a bit before just like tossing him off his arm.
Ooh. Fucking them up. Let's go.
Okay, well, that is all of the potential combatants taken care of in relatively swift fashion. So now you just have the tech bro cowering in the corner of the room, sort of like eyeing to see if he can make a break for it.
Is Opal still kind of...
It appears that she's like, sort of like finished putting herself out, but her whole right arm is like up to her shoulder and then sort of like up to the side of her neck and face a little bit are like charred black.
Oh, God.
and she's just like gritting her teeth in agonizing pain.
Scully will go ahead, look at Merrick, kind of like move her head towards the techie in the corner, because she's awful with people, but she does know some medicine, which won't help a whole bunch because vampires, but
yeah. You know,
go ahead and
it's the thought that counts.
Try and help out Opal a bit. Does it still help if we do a little bit of burn soothing stuff, even if they're a vampire?
Not really.
Yeah. That's what I figured. So I'm gonna go give a hand at least.
Yeah. And she sort of like takes your hand with her good hand. And you see that she does immediately like try to like start mending what she can. Speaking of which, let me roll those rouse checks for her. Well, she definitely gets hungrier. You see it like the bits on her face and neck that were like the least affected. Those start to heal up. They're still a little noticeable on her neck, but those at least like heal up all right. But it's gonna take a while for her arm to like fully recover from this. And Merrick heads over to the cowering tech bro, and he sort of just like squats down and like it takes one of his bony fingers and sort of just starts like tracing it across the dude's cheek and says, I would suggest cooperating unless you want to meet the same fate as your companions over there. And then like with his non-razor hand, he sort of just like picks the dude up and sort of like shuffles him over and like sets him back down in the chair that he was sitting in before. Opal, how are you? And she's like, I've been fucking better, if I'm being honest. But I'll live. Let's talk with our new buddy over here. Sorry, go on.
Really quick, is there a sink or something in this apartment? Assumedly there is, but where is it?
Yeah, there's a sort of like the area you're in now is sort of like a big open area where the sort of like living room and kitchen are sort of just like in an open connected space. So there's a kitchen sink like very easily accessible. If not, you can go find like the bathroom, and you know there'll be a sink in there.
Yeah, Scully's first, once Opal is up, she's going to go ahead and go and start washing off some of the blood. Mainly because, I mean, there's a compulsion, and then there's also her own, not moral compass, we don't got those, but own set of standards that are kind of going to war right now, and so it's like, I need to get this shit off of me. I'm going to go insane. But yeah. Just gonna step away for a second as they start that up.
Yeah. And I'd say sort of like after a minute, I'd say Opal would actually sort of like go over and join you and say, you really tore that guy up.
Yep.
Good job.
Thanks.
Sucker at it coming.
Yeah, that is true. She's very obviously distracted.
And sort of like with her good hand, she sort of like grabs a sponge and sort of like tries helping to clean you off as best she can with her good hand.
Scully kind of like definitely surprised by that because what? But but like accepts it, gives her a nod and thank you for that.
And then sort of like as the one dude is just like quivering and sort of like being like, oh, please don't kill me. You just hear Merrick say, sleep, and then the dude just like goes quiet and you just hear his head just like onto the table. This will be easier if we take him with us.
How much of the apartment is on fire, if I may ask?
There is I'd say there is a wall. I'd say there's a wall on fire currently.
Yeah.
So it's definitely let's get out of here as quickly as possible before this just engulfs us.
Is there a fire exit? Can we just hop on out?
Yeah, there's one like by the window, like where the dude was smoking.
Okay. Let's just head on out. She could go ahead and pick up the guy. I'm imagining that he's very spindly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he's a little on the spindly side, yeah. But even so, no problem for you.
Okay. Just gotta get out of this place.
Yeah, and Merrick turns his hand back to normal, and the three of you quickly vacate through the fire escape and make your way down to street level. Well, that could have gone worse.
It could have gone better, but yeah, it could have been worse.
Yes, it could have gone better, but none of us have died a second time tonight, so I'll consider that a victory.
Nods, shifts the guy on her back. So, where to now?
Well, this is Opal talking, and she says, well, I'm sure the Baron will want to have a chat with this guy. You can feel free to tag along, but you're seeming a little antsy right now.
Really thinking about it. Because what she usually does to feed is go fully out of town.
Uh-huh.
So it's not... It's missing out on the information could be there. It's kind of important. I feel like even having this guy on her back is like, damn, I'm hungry.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna say, considering she has pretty high composure and resolve, she's gonna try and tough it out for now.
Alright, sounds good.
Yeah. Just gonna no, I'll get through it, it's fine. Let's head over.
Alright, sounds good. Then, let's go meet with Baron Reyes. And, the three of you, hop in Merrick's car and drive off. But in the meantime, I go back over to Yvaine and Ephrem.
Yippee!
You're muted.
What's up? I was just kind of quietly barking over here for
Yeah, just
being merited.
I would say just being absolutely ravenous in the comments.
We're
Maybe
passing
so.
notes in class. So.
Right? I was like, I have to turn my camera off because my face gives away every time I'm doing something obnoxious. All right. Can Yvaine mess with the radio in Ephrem's car? Shall I ask first?
He doesn't care.
Okay.
He's very focused for whatever. But yeah, normally he'd be like, "Don't you dare touch my stereo." But he doesn't even seem to notice.
Just gonna put on Pat Benatar. See what happens if he
Nice.
He raises an eyebrow, but doesn't. But doesn't make you change it.
Classic rock ballads.
He's like, I don't want to talk about it.
To him,
All
to
right.
him, the oldies are Wu-Tang. So yeah.
So I'm guessing then that they probably drive in silence, but Yvaine just kind of keeps glancing at Ephrem out of the corner of her eyes, like he's gonna be okay during this meeting, right? Who knows? Definitely not Yvaine.
I don't know.
Maybe not even Ephrem. Right. It's just like, yes. I think she's gonna kind of like start giving herself a pep talk, but like that's also kind of giving Ephrem a bit of a pep talk. And she's just like, okay, you can do this. Good at talking. Can handle meeting with the sheriff. He's not that concerning. He's a little concerning. He's a kindred like you or me. It's gonna be fine. This is a good plan. We can get some good information, and the sooner we resolve this, the better. It's gonna be okay. Yeah, she just keeps muttering to herself.
All right, sounds good. I'm assuming Ephrem probably does not respond.
So I'm like, shut up, please. All right. We pull up on the diocese.
Yeah, you pull up on the diocese. Yeah,
Pull up on it.
Yep, you pull up on the diocese, and you notice that Rick is outside waiting for you.
Rick, good to see you. How are you?
Oh, good to see you too. You know, uneventful night so far. And then he sort of like looks towards the building real quick, and he's like, "I'm sure that could change real quick, but I guess we'll find out."
Definitely change that. Yeah. And she's gonna kind of like walk closer to Rick as like Ephrem's kind of like getting out. She's gonna be like, he's a little on edge. Just FYI.
Okay, good to know.
Also, ixnay on the whole Marcus thing. Ephrem does not think that we should bring up Marcus at all. We should just use Ephrem.
All right, noted.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, shall we do this? It's totally
I
not
suppose we
a concerning
shall.
meeting. Yeah.
Ephrem comes up and just follows behind them. So.
All right, and you walk into the building, and you sort of like follow the
She's dressed like she's going to an interview.
yeah,
Like a goth interview.
a goth interview. Love it. So you head on in, and yeah, Rick will say he's and he almost like rolls his eyes when he's saying this, and he says he's waiting in the cathedral, and so
that's the sound that she makes. I love that. Okay, Haha, are we going to confess our sins or something? She tries to make a little light joke.
We'll
Any
see, I
takers?
guess. And so, you all walk in, and the room itself is, pretty well lit. Various sort of like stained glass windows adorning the side. The various columns have sort of lights that aim up towards the domed structure at the top. Up top on the balcony, classic. There's a giant grand organ. And you see that towards the front of the cathedral, Sheriff McCoy is sitting in one of the front pews.
Oh, it would be so wild to walk up and be like, "Forgive me, Father, but I need guidance." But I do think it would be kind of funny. I just don't think that the sheriff would like. So she'll kind of like, I don't know if like Rick is kind of already walking in that direction, or if he's like waiting for Ephrem and Yvaine to make their way up.
It seems like he's sort of waiting for you too.
Okay. She literally straightens up, shoulders back, and then she starts walking.
Yeah, Ephrem kind of walks by her side.
Okay, yeah, that makes her feel more confident. Cool. If we die, we all die together. So,
I guess when they're kind of going down the center aisle then.
Yeah.
So probably making a right or whatever to go.
Yeah.
And he'll stop and just say, "Evening, Sheriff."
Evening, Ephrem.
Sit down next to the sheriff.
All right, sounds good.
Ephrem remains standing because he wasn't told to sit. So
That's fine. And Rick also remains standing.
Well, thank you for finding time to meet with us, Sheriff McCoy. We had an idea about a way to maybe speed up the process of trying to find our culprit running around the city of Muck right now. Ephrem has stated that he is willing to be used as bait in Ward 2 to try and lure the Maeghar out.
And he sort of like turns to look at Ephrem when you say this. Is that so? You're willing to put your life on the line for this?
He's tried to kill me before.
I see.
I'd like to return the favor.
Putting it on your terms, then.
You got it.
I respect a man of action. So, Ward 2, you say?
Yes, I've been studying a map of Grand Rapids, and we're kind of plotting where a majority of the victims seem to have been found, and a majority of them have been in Ward 2. I would say the second highest was the second highest Ward 1?
Yeah.
Ward 1. But as of late, he seems to be sticking pretty close to Ward 2.
Interesting. That could cause some issues as far as coordination goes. Baron Reyes is the least receptive to our presence in the city. She is the most antagonistic towards our presence.
Well,
If we express an interest in removing a pest, do you think she'd be more agreeable?
Seeing as he's caused so much havoc in her domain, I think we could certainly try and leverage that, but
it may also be a good idea to have the emissary for Baron Andre, because that's common knowledge, right?
yes,
Yeah, the emissary for Baron Andre, who's also
Mr. Kroll.
Yes, who's also looking into this to breach the subject.
That could work. She'd certainly be more receptive to an Anarch reaching out than someone from the Ivory Tower. Even if it is not an Anarch from her own domain, it could still be worth a shot.
And on that note, when doing a little bit of digging into, I guess, more information about these creatures, I came across an interesting bit of information that cold iron might be something that they are highly receptive to, but I wouldn't know where to find the material and was curious if you happen to know anything or of anyone who would.
Cold iron is of particular note in various Celtic traditions. I know millennia ago, some of the pre-Irish people who had come into the area and settled forged weapons out of cold iron. To my knowledge, it has something to do with the process in which the metal is shaped. I do not necessarily know of anything other than museum pieces or items from personal collections that would be of use these days. That isn't to say that there isn't anything lying around somewhere, but it could potentially require some digging. Or we would have to find someone who specializes in shaping metals at such low temperatures to forge something that we could use.
Are we talking like a blacksmith?
Potentially. A rather specialized blacksmith.
This seems absolutely alien to Ephrem. Like to him, blacksmiths make horseshoes.
Uh-huh.
so he's probably kind of getting a little lost on this. So.
There are all manner of people who are into very niche hobbies. So that is a potential thing to look into.
But if this thing is one of us, can't we just cut his fucking head off?
That is certainly possible. It is merely much easier said than done. Because likely this Maeghar is quite powerful and potentially on the older side.
He can move around. I think he moves through the shadows.
That would make sense, since they are some gnarled branch off of my clan. Or so the story goes anyway.
The player wants to ask a question.
Yes. Yes, the player.
Yeah, sorry. Since the unseen doesn't, I was reading up on it. It's like a contested roll against obfuscate or something, or
yes.
Okay, all right. So Ephrem has sense the unseen, but he's not enough that he can like break obfuscate. But this thing isn't necessarily that I know of using obfuscate. It's using oblivion or whatever.
Yeah.
So okay. So the way the rules are written, it doesn't say anything about penetrating shadows or anything like that. So what Ephrem can do is probably not good enough, I'm thinking. So
yeah, I would say, specifically it says sense supernatural activity is what it describes.
Okay. Then there might be a chance, but okay.
Yeah. I would say you might be able to sort of sense it, but you may not necessarily be able to pinpoint exactly where it is.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I was hoping is maybe at worst Ephrem can be like, there's something here, but he doesn't know where, that kind of thing. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that is the next thing he was going to ask about. And I guess I think T wanted to say something, so let me stop.
Well, one of the first things that Yvaine is thinking is, I guess let me just do it in character because she'll just say it this way. There is a chance. Well, and let me back up. It may be better for us to be led to wherever this thing has decided to move its experiments. That would mean Ephrem would have to be in this thing's grasp.
I would say,
that's where you kind of stiffen, like.
Yeah, Rick sort of like chimes in and says, "So you want him to get kidnapped again?"
No, we are leading him to the trap.
Which means that we either need to get. Well, then we would need to have a way to trap it, to restrain it, incapacitate it, whatever, when it shows up.
Yes, there is the very real chance that it could potentially slip through our fingers wherever we decide to spring this trap of ours. It can be rather slippery, as you are well aware. If we were to strike wherever it is resting its head during the day, then it would have nowhere to flee to. It would have no safe haven to retreat back to.
Ephrem, at the end of the night. Sorry, Tiara had to laugh. I'm like, that's silly. At the end of the night, you're the one whose safety is on the line. If we were to want to make this as sure as possible, I do believe that the best route would be finding its lair versus trying to grab hold of it as soon as it appears. I think if we fail that, I don't think we'll get another chance to find this thing again. Now, the only thing that I could think of in terms of helping to, I guess, ensure your safety if we went the route of trying to find where this thing's moved its lair to would be, well, could probably put a tracking device on you, quite honestly.
I actually have a good suggestion for that.
No?
The Tremere have a rather simple little trick that some of them can do. It's a relatively easy ritual that they teach their novices. They are able to create bloodstones that have some sort of pull on them. The person who creates this bloodstone is able to know exactly where this bloodstone is for a certain duration after it has been created, regardless of how far away it is. That would be a good way to lead us to our quarry should we lose sight of him.
So are you saying to slip this on the... Okay, I guess I'm kind of lost. Is this to slip this on the Maeghar, or is this to...
No. We would keep it
use
on... We would keep it on Ephrem's person.
Got it. Okay.
Basically, they want to chip me so they can find me later.
If that's how you want to look at it.
The idea of giving the Tremere my blood is not appealing to me.
Oh, that won't be necessary. I'm sure they'll want something in exchange for this service of theirs. They always do. But your blood in particular will not be required for the creation of this bloodstone.
If that's the case, then I'm okay with that.
Whose blood will be required?
Likely the users.
Okay. Do we have any idea of what they may try and ask for?
Ultimately, it depends on how much we disclose to them and who we ask.
Being the sheriff, you don't necessarily have any sway with the Tremere Primogen, though.
No. I could try to... No. Also, the Tremere don't really have a Primogen. They have a High Regent who functionally sits on the Primogen Council, but is not officially a member. The Tremere are recluses in that way. They keep informed of what they need to be informed about, but other than that, they like to be undisturbed.
My question about trying to find this thing's lair, who are resources that can go about during the day to do such things?
I know there are various ghouls in the Camarlla's employ who we could potentially send out to scout likely locations during the day.
I have a friend who I'd like to recommend join that team.
Is that so?
Yeah.
Very well.
And he's going to recommend his ghoul, Jose.
Yeah.
Because he wants somebody he can trust on that team.
Understandable.
Yeah. So poor Jose now never gets any sleep, has to work all the shifts at the club, and now has to go do a side job during the day.
Yeah.
If he wants my blood, he'll do it. So
yeah. That's true. He will.
So he'll give Jose's name and says, I will arrange for him to join this strike force.
Excellent. I will speak to the prince on the matter and see what ghouls she deems trustworthy enough to send out on this endeavor. And I will also ensure this Jose will be on this team that will be assembled.
Pending cooperation from Baron Reyes, who are we thinking about sending to? I mean, is the plan to go and attack this thing during the day when it rests and kill it? Are we trying to capture it?
I will have to discuss the matter with the prince now that we have a few more details ironed out, though knowing her, she will likely call for capture if possible, kill if necessary. As for when we would strike, strategically it would be inadvisable for us to strike during the day because we would be equally as vulnerable as him, and we do not know what defenses or precautions he has set in place for potential intruders to his haven. So, night would be best. He may be at his full strength, but we will also be at ours.
Sheriff, may I ask a question about these shadow powers?
Ask.
Is this something that you are able to track things through these shadows? Is it a communal and he's trying to think of even a scientific term, and he's not a scientific he's like a communal place you go?
Some of us are able to observe others through various shadows, depending on our proficiency with touching oblivion, as well as various distances.
Because we know this guy's name, right? It's like
Lorcan.
Okay, so he's gonna say this thing's name is Lorcan. If you know its name, is there a way you could somehow track it? He's like, you're asking for somebody with Oblivion 5. I only have 3.
I haven't leveled up yet.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't leveled up yet. Lots of XP.
I haven't spent the XP. I just haven't done it.
It was like, get back to me in 5 business days.
Yeah, exactly. But I know a guy. No.
I know a man.
He's just going to ask this innocent question because he doesn't understand Oblivion. He barely understands his own powers. So,
yes. Touching Oblivion is no joke, and there are very few who can traverse through it long distance without some serious cost to themselves. Typically, for most kindred anyway, those who are proficient enough with Oblivion are able to pass through a shadow and reappear to another one that they can at least see. Typically, that is the range that most kindred are able to reach even at the height of their Oblivion proficiencies.
I just thought I'd ask. Just wasn't sure.
And you said that some spying is possible, though?
Yes. Some are able to project our senses through the shadows to be able to see or hear or smell various things around the shadow, and others are able to create almost little servants, if you will, made of shadow that can blend in with shadow and be our eyes and ears for us and report back what they see.
Do you have to be familiar with the target that you are wanting to hear, see? I don't know. I don't remember what the other one was. Was it smell? Smell?
Yeah. Basically, just like any of their senses, essentially.
If you smelt it, you dealt it. So.
I found him.
I know that cologne anywhere.
We can't stay in character. Yeah.
No, it's impossible. But just completely lost my train of thought there.
Like, for instance, you're familiar with Ephrem. Would you be potentially able to see Ephrem if he was taken somewhere?
I would potentially be able to. Typically, we are not able to. It would depend on how far away he is. Typically, we cannot extend our senses too terribly far, but far enough to be useful. As for shadow servants,
all the guys who did that went to the Middle East. So,
as for shadow servants, that could potentially be more of a potentially more useful, provided it is careful.
And then in terms of once this Lorcan is found, ideas for who will be engaging with this creature. I don't know if you've noticed, maybe you have. She kind of just like points to her very normal arms. There's no muscle there. Just and gestures to herself. I don't know how to fight.
Well,
I don't know that. Ephrem, can you fight?
I can scrap.
It's better than me.
And I definitely want a shot at this fucker.
I mean, I guess if you put a gun in my hand, I point it in a direction and use it. I don't know that a gun would be helpful. I could also accidentally shoot Ephrem.
Let's try not to do that.
Oh, of course not. I would hate to do that, but it could happen.
I know your coterie mate, Delilah, is a bit on the shy side, but I know she's able to handle herself in a fight.
What if we knew somebody else who could help?
By all means, we'll need as many able bodies as possible. I will be involved, as will Rick and Hassan. And whoever else we can potentially negotiate So if you know someone else that you
She'll just very,
trust
very
well enough.
casually say, I believe the emissary might be able to be talked into helping with this. Since Baron Andre seems to be concerned as well about these going-ons.
I think that is quite likely. We can likely persuade him to assist, yes.
And maybe the emissary knows someone else who might be able to help. They'll probably be more likely to, I guess, allow us clearance? She shrugs. To come in and do what we're trying to do if they also have people on the ground, as it were, involved.
Yes. And if we can gain the cooperation of Baron Reyes, then hopefully she will be able to provide some assistance, either personally or via an emissary as well.
Right. Well, this seems like the first solid and hopeful plan we've had since this all began. So that's better than nothing.
Agreed.
Thank
And
you
she'll
for your
look to
time,
Ephrem.
Sheriff. Yeah, if she looks at him, he's just like ready to go. He's like, "Thank you for your time, Sheriff."
Of course.
Yes, agreed. Thank you.
I'm happy we could be of assistance to each other.
And then he'll look back at Yvaine like, "Let's go."
And
I was
Yeah.
thinking something. It's like I don't want to fight this man right now.
Right. And Rick will sort of follow you guys out, and as soon as you guys are out of the cathedral, he'll say, "Well, you guys handled that pretty well."
Looks at Yvaine.
Yeah, I was debating telling him to please never, ever, 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 ever just drag me in front of a group of high-ranking individuals ever again and go, this one wants to talk to you, everyone else leaves. But it didn't really feel like the right time for that.
I was saying that'll get a bit of a chuckle out of Rick. Yeah. Well, maybe next time.
Huh, next time. Ha, ha. After this, right? Like, there should be nothing ever again, ever.
Alright, you can just let it fester then.
It won't fester. I'll just let it go. It's fine. But, Ephrem, are you okay with this turn of events?
I am for now.
Right. Well, we have, I guess, a path, or not a path, but we have some things to follow up on so that we can get prepared for this. I do think potentially it would be a good idea to still look into cold iron. That might not bear any fruit, but I will try and devote a little bit of research into that as well. Maybe there's a museum that happens to have something that we could use. Maybe we could borrow it.
Maybe we could do a heist.
You know,
Do.
if we stole from a museum but didn't get caught, would you have to arrest us, Rick? How's that work? Would you just be like, well, they stole from a museum, whatever?
Do I look like the Mortal Police?
Weren't you originally a police officer?
Oh, okay. I was FBI, thank you. But also, I
Sorry.
don't do that
You
anymore.
originally FBI.
And it also would depend on whose domain the museum is in.
Yes, and also if the person cares about that sort of thing, whoever owns the domain,
Ephrem is becoming Camarilla by the rules book
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah, but provided there's no like kindred shenanigans or anything like that, then it would seem like just a normal bank robbery, or museum robbery in this case. So
Next episode, the gang plans a heist. So,
yeah,
This is okay. This is wild. There is actually one more thing Yvaine does want to do here before leaving.
okay.
But if we need to go back to Scully and all
Yeah.
of Merrick and all of them, we could do that.
I would say I do want to do that, but also I don't know how long that's going to take, so I might save it till next time.
Yeah,
So
why don't-
you can
why don't we save
you can do what you want to do while you're here.
Just gonna say, Ephrem, if I take a couple more minutes, are you just gonna go, or are you willing to wait like 5 minutes and then drop me back off at the coterie house?
Set his watch. I can give
Okay,
you
set it
5.
for 6 minutes. I
He's
need
like,
5 minutes to talk and then 60 seconds to get to your car.
and he actually smiles and is like, "All right, you got it."
All right. Just gonna be like, Rick, can you stay right here? And if you hear me scream, can you please come in? All right, I'll meet you outside in a second. She's-
Ephrem cracks his neck, like
Yeah.
anticipating, like, what is she going to ask me? So,
no. She's just listen. No, she's
a
going back
completely
into.
mortal response.
She's gonna go back into the sanctuary, and nothing bad is gonna happen. And she's just like, Rick just brought up a super good point, and then he was like, "Let it fester, then." And just like, fuck. If I want to do what I'm thinking I want to do, then I'm probably gonna have to deal with these people repeatedly. So let's just get this out right now and just go for it. So she'll be back. She's gonna walk back into the fucking what did you call it? The sanctuary, the chapel.
Ugh. The cathedral.
Thank you, the cathedral. She's gonna walk back in there. She does tell Ephrem, hey, you may absolutely wait in your car if you would like, because she's like, I'm already nervous and you have a way of looking at me that's just like, I am judging you, which makes me more nervous. So you can always feel free to wait in your car if you'd like to.
And he'll just wait in the car. He's like, "You got 4 minutes."
What? It's only been 30 seconds. Okay, she goes into the cathedral.
Okay. You head in, and you see that Sheriff McQuaid is no longer sitting in the pew, and it looks like he's sort of like heading up onto the altar, sort of like walking towards the back, when he turns as he hears the door open up again.
Sheriff,
Yvaine.
there was one more thing that I would like to speak with you about, if that's okay. If I can have, as she kind of like checks her phone, can I have like 3 minutes? Because then I'll have 30 seconds to get to the car before Ephrem leaves me here. And he's my ride.
Very well.
Okay, she's gonna kind of. No, she's not. Shut up, Scully. She's gonna walk up to
Right on the altar.
the altar.
That's crazy.
No, walk up to. She's gonna walk up to the altar, and then she's gonna kind of like. She does. I know they don't need to breathe. She's going to do it because it's just like a breathing exercise to help her calm down. Just gonna inhale deeply and let it out and say, "Okay, so Rick has brought up a really, really great point that potentially."
Did he?
Yes, actually. He has a lot of good points sometimes. But anyways, it seems like with the trend of things, the coterie continues having to obviously work with yourself, the Hound, the Scourge, doing various things for the Camarilla. And so, in the vein of having a productive and good working relationship I have a request.
Yes.
If you would be so kind as to hear me out. Awesome. So, remember when I asked you for help with setting up time to meet with the prince?
I do.
And then you dragged me upstairs. And then you kicked all the Primogen out.
Yes, Felicia was rather upset by that.
Right. So, like, you are a person of note within the Camarilla. I am not. However, in doing that, I feel like that potentially puts me in a very bad position and an uncomfortable one. It is very clear that I'm a person who has a lot of social anxiety. And so I would very much appreciate it that something like that does not happen again. I'm absolutely fine waiting a day or two for any important meetings with important individuals because I would prefer not to have everyone want to kill me. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to say that.
Sort of like
But she's just staring at him.
Yeah, he sort of like contemplate. He sort of is just silent for a moment and contemplates. Says,
This is a very nerve-wracking conversation for me to have with you. You're incredibly intimidating. However,
Thank
if
you.
I'm going to have to, you're welcome. You're welcome, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
Just the
yeah,
ring.
it works for you very, very well. You're intimidating and scary in a very good way sometimes, I suppose, but also I would like to exist semi-peacefully if possible. And so in lieu of that, I'm kind of tamping down on the nervousness that I naturally feel around you to say, please don't do that to me again. It was very, very, very unpleasant.
your concern has been noted and will be considered in the future.
She's just gonna stare at him.
Sort of just like raise an eyebrow at you. Was there anything else?
Me, this is wild. Okay, I'll pray for her. I have to roll something.
This always goes well.
All right. He said he'll consider it.
Yes, he said he'll consider your concern for the future.
Okay, so as the
Well,
sheriff,
take it under consideration for the future.
So as the sheriff, does he have direct control over what Yvaine does? He's not her supervisor.
It depends on what she does.
Right. It's just like as a normal thing for something like that, probably not.
Enforcing traditions. I mean,
Yeah. He's got to enforce tradition, so it depends on what it is you do.
Okay, so then what she'll say is, hold on, and also I'm like, she's not. I'm like, does she use a thing here? Oh my god. This for her, she's like, it's kind of like, do I kind of back down and just take that, or do I make it clear that it's like I'm not just gonna be a doormat?
Wow, yeah, I would say Yvaine stands up to her sire once. It's just off the rails.
Spiral, baby.
this guy might have the right of destruction. Who knows?
Who knows?
Depends on what the prince allowed.
Well, she's not going to use anything, but she is going to go, I will respect your position and what you need to do in terms of your position as sheriff. I will also respect my own right to decline certain things if they are not in line with that, so that I am not put in an uncomfortable situation because I will not be a doormat.
He'll sort of just put his hands behind his back and sort of like nod and say, very fair.
Thank you for hearing me out, Sheriff McQuinn. I hope you have a lovely rest of your evening.
You as
And
well.
and she's going to turn and she's going to leave and she's going to walk at a normal pace and not run out of there. And then as soon as she, I don't know if she feels eyes boring into the back of her head at all. But yeah, as soon as she gets to the door and the door closes, if Brick is there, she's gonna be like, my legs feel like Jello.
Yeah, and yeah, Rick is still there, and he says, "Yeah, that makes sense." And then he like looks at his phone. Also, you have 20 seconds.
Oh, right. Thank you. Okay. Good night, Rick.
Yeah, good night.
She's going to be walk out of there to Ephrem's car.
The music is very loud now. He's gone back to whatever channel she had changed. He changed back to what he was listening to.
Okay.
So,
Yvaine's gonna open the car door and
very loud
it is
burst of bass.
very,
So, yeah.
well, it is very noticeable that as she gets in, like she's doing the like that was very nerve-wracking shakes. She is shaking. And she's like, okay, let's go. Okay, let's go.
Car-
we can go. Let's
Car
go.
and drive, and they leave.
All right, and they leave, and I think that's where we'll stop for tonight.
Awesome.
She had to stand up for herself.
Could have gone one of two ways. So
Yeah, she could have been a stain on the floor, or she could have been dragged to super hell. I don't know.
Trying to super hell.
Go and time out with Marcus.
You go hang out with him for a while.
Right, fucking loser. Who do you think you are?
all right. Well, thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you all.
That was a lot of fun, and we got a lot done. Dang.
We did.
Yeah. Look at us go. We're so
Yeah.
productive.
Yeah,
Exactly. Look
yeah,
at
and
us.
Scully got
Who
to
would've thought?
tear a man apart. It was awesome.
Yay!
Pulling it.
That's the first time I've ever done combat in VTM.
Hell yeah. I was like, thank goodness it happened to you and not to me.
Well, Scully's kind of built for that sort of thing,
This is
so
why I was hired. This is on my
I would've-
resume.
Yvaine would have been in the corner like, oh, just like, you got this. Yeah. Again. Do it again.
yeah, you ripped that guy in
Hiding
half.
behind like
Tear
a
his arm
desperate-
off.
We're gonna have to
Beat him with the
cheerleader
arm.
pom-poms.
Yeah. Beat him with that other person.
Just pick one person up by their legs, start beating someone else with a whole person.
Oh my God.
Exactly that. All right.
All right.
Seems
Well,
like we're closing in.
yeah, we are. We're getting there.
Plans are being formulated.
We're getting there.
So we should be playing next Friday, folks. So again, if you're watching the video on YouTube, we appreciate your support. If you like the video, please be sure to give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's see. Anybody have anything they want to advertise going on?
No, do not. Not at this point in time.
We have next week, next Wednesday, we're continuing Scum and Villainy, our series we just started. Thursday night, and I know someone's going to be really chomping at the bit to play that one, is
Yes.
Werewolf the Apocalypse. Otto is a little angry.
I was stressing out last night.
Good, I did my job. So, and then next Friday night, back here for River City Runs Red. So from all of us, have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
And everybody.
Awesome.